Homebridge Made Easy, up next. Welcome and thanks for watching. If, like me, you're interested in the HomeKit smart home platform and Apple related tech, please subscribe and tap the bell to get notified when I post new content. Also, if you find this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. It's very much appreciated. In a past video, I demonstrated how to get the Ring Pro video doorbell into HomeKit via Homebridge. And I recommended most people avoid it because it was a convoluted solution and not for the faint of heart. Well, the brilliant Homebridge team officially released the official Homebridge Raspberry Pi Image, and with that, they just removed a whole lot of friction of getting Homebridge up and running on a Raspberry Pi. In this video, I'm gonna go step by step through their simple process, so fair warning, this will likely be a lengthy one. And if you've ever thought about putting together a Raspberry Pi for Homebridge, I suggest following along on your computer, and by the end of this video, you too will be up and running with Homebridge. I'll list all the components you'll need for your own Raspberry Pi in the description below, and let's get started and take a look at those now. So here's everything we're going to need to put together our Raspberry Pi to run Homebridge. And first we have the Raspberry Pi itself, we have a case, we have a power supply, and a micro SD card for storage. So you can look on the website to see which models of Raspberry Pi work. Pretty much any model will work for this project. I happen to have the latest version, the Raspberry Pi 4 with 2 GB of RAM. So let's go ahead and open this up. And this is really a simple board, and the Raspberry Pi is really a lightweight computer. So here we have the Raspberry Pi, and that's simply all that it is. You have Ethernet ports, USB ports, and the 4 comes with a USB-C for power. This is the slot where the storage micro SD card goes, and then different pins where you can use to expand it. For us, we don't need to worry about anything else on here because we're just building this Pi for Homebridge. Set that aside for a bit. Let's go ahead and open up the case. And they have a bunch of cases. I just happened to pick this one up because it was on sale. They were running a special when I bought this. But since I have a Pi 4, and since they do sometimes change the connections or the ports, make sure you get a case that is compatible with your Raspberry Pi. So, the case is really simple. You just take it apart, you put the Raspberry Pi in there. Actually, let's go do that now. You just place the Raspberry Pi in there. Just make sure the ports match up. It's pretty simple. Everything's just, for the most part, plug and play. And that is the Raspberry Pi. Then we have the power supply. And again, this power supply is for the Raspberry Pi 4, as it is USB-C. We just plug that in to here for power, and there is an LED light there. Then we have the micro SD card for storage. Now they recommend at least 4 GB class 10 at 40 megabytes per second. This one is probably a little more than I need, but again, this one was on sale. It says $11.99, but when I was looking on the rack, this was the least expensive one they had. It was a couple bucks off that, so it was like $8 and change. So I just picked this version that was within spec. We don't need the adapter, but I'll save it just in case I'll need it for something else. In case I put a smaller one or change the SD card. And the micro SD card just goes here on the bottom in this slot. That in there like that, and that's pretty much the Raspberry Pi. Pretty simple, not a whole lot to it. We don't need to really worry about any of these ports because with the new Homebridge Image, it's going to make setting this up and putting this together really simple. So let's go ahead and set this up, and actually I guess I'm gonna need that adapter because I have to take the SD card. so that I can insert this into my computer so we can put the Homebridge image onto the SD storage card. Let's go ahead and do that now. So here we are on my Mac, and we're on the homebridge.io site. And again, Homebridge is HomeKit support for the impatient. We'll go ahead and click View on GitHub, and then we'll scroll down on the GitHub page down to Installation. And here's a link for the official Homebridge Raspberry Pi image. We're going to choose that. And then scroll down a bit, and this is their Getting Started page. And it'll show you the prerequisites. So again, you'll need a supported Raspberry Pi model, and if we click that, it'll show you all the models, and it's pretty much most of them that are supported. Mine is the Raspberry Pi 4. Let's go ahead and go back, and you'll need a 4 GB or larger SD card, again class 10, 40 megabytes per second or faster, Windows, Mac OS, or Linux computer with an SD card reader. So I'm just going to go ahead and follow the steps. Step 1 is download, so I'm going to choose download latest version, and I'm going to choose the Raspbian Homebridge version 1.0.2. I'm going to click that, allow downloads, and now that's downloading to the computer. Status is up here. That is done. We'll go back, and step 2 is to flash the image to the SD card, and it says the easiest way to flash the Homebridge Raspberry Pi image to your SD card is to use Etcher. Download, install the latest version of Etcher. I have not used Etcher, so we're going to go ahead and follow the instructions and download Etcher. Looks like from their website. Click download for Mac OS. Allow downloads. And that was pretty quick. We'll go back and open Etcher and select the Homebridge Raspbian image. I'm going to downloads and open the DMG with Etcher. And there's Etcher. I'm going to go ahead and drag it to my applications folder. And there it is. We'll launch Etcher. I'm going to go ahead and open. So here in the Etcher app, I'm going to choose Flash from File, find my Downloads folder, which is already under. I'm going to go ahead and choose the Raspbian Homebridge zip file we just downloaded. Click Open, select Target. I'm going to go ahead and insert my SD card. Choose Select Target, and in my CalDigit card reader dock, I'm going to check that as my source, 62.5 gigabytes, and choose Continue, then choose Flash. Now it wants to make changes, so let's go ahead and plug in the password. Okay. And Etcher is now working and flashing the image to our SD card. Then it's done flashing. We'll go ahead and quit Etcher. So the next thing we need to do is connect to network. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect the Raspberry Pi to our network. I'm going to use Ethernet. You can use Wi-Fi. There are steps here if you want to use Wi-Fi, but I'm going to use an Ethernet cable. So let's go ahead and eject the SD card and place it into the Pi and power it on. So here's the Raspberry Pi. We're going to go ahead and take the SD card and insert it into the Raspberry Pi. Then we're going to go ahead and connect it to Ethernet. And then we'll go ahead and plug it into power and let it boot up. LED lights indicate that it's powered. Back on the Mac, we can move on to step 4, which is manage Homebridge. The Homebridge UI web interface will allow you to install, remove, and update plugins and modify the Homebridge and manage other aspects of your Homebridge service. The default user is admin with password admin. If you're using macOS or mobile device, you should be able to access the UI via homebridge.local, and we'll do that by clicking the link. And there it is, the interface is already up. The username was admin and password was admin. And click login. I'm not going to save this password because I'll be changing it from the default admin. And this is the config UI interface included in this install of Homebridge. In the upper left, you can see your HomeKit setup code, the QR code as long as with the code itself. And I believe this code with this install of Homebridge is unique to every install. So you can also change this, like I'm probably going to go in there and change this to what my last Homebridge install was. And this gives you the logs and CPU status, memory, uptime, and other status. It's up to the Homebridge install is up to date. It's running, and plugins. One plugin is out of date. So let's go ahead and click that so we see how we update the plugins. And it is actually the config UI plugin that's out of date. So we can update that simply by just choosing update here. And it'll give you release notes, tells you what's in the fixes or improvements. And we'll go ahead and just click update. Just let it run through its routine or process. And it's done updating. It says restart Homebridge now, which we'll go ahead and do. So that changes take effect. And now as we check, it says all plugins up to date, but actually the only plugin we had installed was for the UI. So under plugins, where we updated this Homebridge config UI X, we can also search for plugins. So the very first thing I got Homebridge for was so that I could add a older 2016 LG OLED TV to HomeKit. And then I found out that they actually had a plugin for LG TV. So that plugin was under LG Web OS. And there are a few here, and I believe the one I used was Homebridge Web OS TV. And yeah, this is the one. The developer was Murdoch. So I can install this, but I think what most people would probably use this for, and the thing that really caught my eye with using this more than just getting my TV in HomeKit was getting my existing Ring Video Doorbell Pro onto HomeKit. And I'm gonna go ahead and install this one now because I do need it for my front doorbell. And we can see how that process is of installing plugins. So installation done, and all we have to do now is link our accounts, and we do that by logging in. So now when I click that, it's going to get the authorization token. So I'm just waiting for a verification code to arrive in my email inbox, and I'll paste it here. So I got the verification code. I'll paste it in, hit verify code, and there is my refresh token. So now I can also go through optional configuration, and only just these if you actually need to, and you likely need to. So a few things is when you add this into HomeKit, there is a programmable doorbell switch. I hide that because I don't really tiny automations to when someone presses the doorbell, and it's kind of a hassle to see that. The other thing is you can hide any of these camera motion sensors, camera siren switch, in-home doorbell switch, unsupported services, show panic buttons. I usually leave that default. So here under location IDs, if you have multiple homes listed in your Ring account, you can limit which locations it finds. Now you need to find this location ID in the console. So for now, I'm just going to hit save on that. I'm not gonna say the password because I'm likely gonna change it. So there's a Homebridge ring, it's installed. We're gonna restart the server just to bring that all online and let it connect to Ring and load everything. And here it is, service is restarted now. So all the changes can be made in the plugins under settings. So if you'd like to tinker more, here's a look at my config.json file, and you can make changes here if you want to go ahead and tinker with your own config file, and this will make changes to the plugins as well. And you don't even have to look at this if you don't want to. But if you want to tinker, or if there's some errors going on, you can try and figure out what needs to go in here. But there, there is a rudimentary config.json editor here for those of you that are inclined. And the next menu we have is accessories, and these are all the accessories that are loaded. I'll probably go in here and tinker later, but for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to leave it as is now. And then if we move to the right, we have a view logs, and here's where you can view logs of the status of your Homebridge, and you can usually find error. If you have any errors or something's not loading right, you can probably find the problem in here somewhere. And if you ask someone for help, typically they'll ask you to post your logs so they can see where the errors are if you can't figure them out yourself. And in this button here, you restart the server, just go back to status. And then the 3 dots here will give you more settings. So here you can access the terminal if you want to, again, make changes to your Homebridge setup or run updates that can't be run through this interface. You can restart the server, shut down the server, change your Homebridge settings here. You can reset Homebridge, back up and restore. You can change the UI settings. So here I like to go with the dark mode. I think that looks a little better. And then under UI settings, you have user account. So this is where you would add a different user account, and that's what I'll do later. I'll add a more custom user account, and you can make them an admin username. You can add all of that, and then I'll delete the default admin, and you can log out. So to add this into HomeKit, we're going to go ahead and go on our iPhone, open the Home app, and in the upper right, we're going to add accessory as we always do with HomeKit. So this brings up use the HomeKit setup code, and I'm just going to go ahead and scan the code on the computer. And it's going to warn me that's an uncertified accessory. And we're going to hit add anyway, and it says adding Homebridge. Homebridge is added. Your new accessory is ready to use, and it brings up any accessories or devices, a link to plugins you have installed. So this is for the Ring, and it shows it's the front door, in-home doorbell. I'm going to move this into actually the living room, and I'm going to include it in favorites. I'll choose next. And this was the mode screen because I had modes turned on in my Ring account. Don't really use it, but I'm gonna leave it, and I'll also put this in the living room. And I will not include this in favorites. And then click next. And then it asks if I want to add this mode into any of the suggested scenes. For now, I'm gonna set that as done. I'm not going to touch it. I'll probably change it later so that when I'm away, it'll go into away mode, or when I'm home, it'll go into home mode. But I don't want to touch that right now. So if we scroll down and look over, we see that the front door is there. So this is now the Ring showing up in HomeKit. And if we pick the camera, it'll take a bit to load the live view. One thing to note, the plugin does not yet have two-way audio. It does have audio, so you can listen from the microphone, but there is no two-way audio, so you can't speak with whoever's at the door. And that's because the Ring plugin doesn't have it yet. I believe the developer is working on it, but it's not there yet. Hopefully we see in the future, because we probably see that before Ring gives official support. What's great about, so I did add this to the living room, and what's good about that is if we look in the lower right, as with other HomeKit accessories, I can click that tab and I can access everything in the living room, and that's where my door is. So if someone's at the doorbell, I know who it is, I just want to let them in, I can go ahead and unlock the door from here. And the door is unlocked. Then I can lock it behind them. We click done, and up here it shows the accessories attached. So motion sensor, and then a front in-home door switch, which I'm going to hide that later because that really does nothing. So there it is. And that's all it takes to get a Homebridge up and running on a Raspberry Pi. I really wanted to cover all the steps of assembling the Pi, setting it all up, then going through install of a plugin, and finally bringing it all together in the Home app on an iOS device. I know for some, the thought of running Homebridge could be intimidating, but believe me when I say that the Homebridge team did an extraordinary job of making this process dead simple. Before this, Homebridge was something I recommended people avoid and stay away from, but now it's something I'll definitely recommend. It's a viable solution for possibly getting those incompatible smart home devices you may already own into HomeKit. I'm definitely a proponent, and if now you'd like to see more videos regarding Homebridge, please comment below. And if you happen to already be knee-deep in Homebridge, please also share experiences in the comments below. I'd really like to hear about them. With that, I'll wrap this up, and until the next one, please take care and be safe out there.